Well, a very good afternoon to you if you're joining us live here today at Burnaby Road for coverage of this game in the first round of the Coral Challenge Cup between the Royal Navy and West Hull. The game due to start at 2 o'clock. Both teams off the pitch now. They've been on the field for the last few minutes, just limbering up and ready to go. And we're looking forward to a cracking game of rugby league. I'll be joined later on, hopefully, in the commentary box here by a legend of Royal Navy and Inter-Services Rugby. That's Wayne O'Kell. He'll be here with us to give his thoughts of the game throughout the match. But joining me right now is my colleague Kath Brazier, who'll be reporting on the touchline this afternoon. And Kath, rugby league, it's a terrific game, isn't it? I know that how much you enjoy watching rugby league.
I do, and I think I only really appreciated the game as of about 2-3 years ago. I'm more of a rugby union growing up, but came into rugby league, went off to Australia with the UK Armed Forces, and got a real appreciation and love of the game when I was there, and I've sort of followed it ever since. And actually this is the first time I've had the opportunity to cover a Challenge Cup game, because I've always either been elsewhere or out in Maribel for years, which is of course what we did. So
that's right, because normally this time of the year, in fact next week you'll be heading down to Maribel obviously for the in-services skiing championships. But here today it's a fascinating tie between the Royal Navy and West Hull. This match could quite easily be being played on a park pitch somewhere in Hull today, because at least half of the Royal Navy side actually come from the city of Hull. We'll run through the teams for you very shortly, but there's so many ins and outs on this game, and I only have to look at number 6 for West Hull, Scott Partis, who has been out of the Royal Navy for 11 years, but he was a stalwart in the Royal Navy side for such a long time, and he'll be playing this afternoon for West Hull. I understand, talking to Scott earlier, that he was actually a member of the East Hull side as well at one stage, which if you're anywhere near the city of Hull, you know that never the twain shall meet between the east and the west side of the city. But as far as the Royal Navy are concerned, they are a side who are coming into the competition here on the back of a fantastic performance, or 3 fantastic performances against the Aussie Forces. And I know you watched a couple of those games, Kath, didn't you? When it's the first time in 7 years that the Royal Navy have actually beaten anyone from the Australians, which is a terrific effort. Yeah,
and again, you know, that brutality that I mentioned earlier, that I've sort of newly come into rugby league, and really that fight between the 3 games between the Aussie Forces and the Navy was, well, something else. And I've covered one of the games here, a dreary sort of night in November, and of course it was all to celebrate the armistice as well, so there was another reason for it. But yeah, and I understand from Steve that a couple of injuries were picked up in that November series, and hence we're missing a few players today.
Yes, I mean virtually a whole team, to be honest, from the Royal Navy. I think certainly on Wednesday there were 14 possible first-team players who could have been picked for this team who are unavailable. They're either on operational commitments or they are injured. But let's look down that Royal Navy side, because, as I say, there's so many Hull connections here. Luke Cooper at number 1, Lloyd Williamson number 2. He is from Skirler on the east side of Hull, leading hand based at he's actually based at an RAF station at RAF Marham. He's wearing number 2. Luke Cooper, as I say, number 1. He's actually a former West Hull player. He's from the West Hull side, and he's the vice captain of the team today. Steve Riley, who assures me he's not from Hull or even from Yorkshire. He's at number 3 today, one of the most experienced men in the side at Royal Marine Commando 4-5 Commando. Number 5 for the Navy is Josh Copeland from HMS Sultan, another Hullite. He's from Heddon over on the east side of the city, wearing number 4 today for the Navy. Gavin Duffy from HMS Drake in Plymouth. It's his first year in the side, and he comes from Newcastle, another northerner, but obviously not necessarily from that hotbed of the game in rugby league. John Clay at number 6, Lennox Green number 7. Now he is halfback, Royal Marine Commando, and another former West Hull player, very exciting player according to Steve Lockton, wearing number 7. At 8, Danny Johnson, 5 years in the Navy. He's a submariner, and another West Hull former player. Won everything to under 18s level alongside this important for the Navy this afternoon. Danny Heaton at number 9, Dutchy Holland at number 10, Nathan Lee, very important role obviously for the Navy this afternoon. He'll be wearing number 11 with Louis McKenna, 40 Commando Royal Marines. Again, another Hullite on the second row, and Jack Basher wearing number 13. A few of these players, Kath, you might be familiar with from the match against the Australians.
Yeah, a few definitely, and Josh Copeland had a great cracking few games against the Australians, and Luke Cooper there at the top of your list, number 1. He had a really, really good summer out in Australia when the UK Armed Forces went out. But like you said, I mean, I recognise a few of the names, but there are a lot more that I know of that aren't on that list due to injury and being unavailable, I suppose.
Yeah, some really crucial players, but I know from Lockie that all the players out here today are going to give their all for the Royal Navy against what is an extraordinarily strong West Hull side. This is their first match of the season, though. They haven't played a competitive game yet so far this year. October was the last time they all went out on the pitch together, so maybe they'll be a bit rusty. The RAF or the Navy or either have got obviously the home advantage here today.
You might be grabbing at straws there, John, but
we'll
see.
Let's just see. Harry Tyson Wilson will be their fullback. Extraordinary record does Harry. One of the two Tyson Wilson brothers, although his brother Robert, Bobby, is number 10. Yeah, he's also in the side today. Fullback, great passer of the ball, great kicking game, reads the game very well. His brother Bobby at number 10 today. He's a prop forward, son of the former Hull FC and Hunslet player Rob Wilson. Looking down the list as well for the side for West Hull, Luke Moss at number 2. Josh Nicklin will be wearing number 3 today. Number 4 for them is going to be Jack Lazenby. At number 5 for West Hull is Jamie Lee. Number 6, now this is a man that I've already mentioned, Scott Partis. He's got flowing locks these days. I think they're tied into a ponytail this afternoon. But I don't remember him many a time playing for the Royal Navy here at Burnaby Road. Be looking forward to seeing how he would be playing. He's standoff, the eldest statesman of the side, 35 years old. And well, obviously he's going to really enjoy himself today, I think. At number 7, Ian Kerman. At number 8 is Lee Cater, 36 years young. Number 9 is Scott Spavin. And number 10, Bobby Tyson Wilson, as we've mentioned. Wearing number 11 today, Nathan Powley, hooker prop. Not your typical prop, apparently, but he'll take the team forward just as well, according to his manager. Ben Arbon wearing number 12 today. And number 13, and the captain for the side from West Hull, Ryan Steen. And as you can see, the players coming out onto the field now for the start of this game. It's going to be a cracker. And know wherever you're joining us this afternoon throughout the Forces world, and indeed, if you're watching us maybe on a big screen at West Hull today. Screen today, and that you're going to be watching and enjoying a great game of rugby league. Our referee today is Steve Race, and his touch judges James Hartley from the RAF and Ben Bragg from the Army. So we've got military representation today as far as the officials are concerned. Well, as I say, we're hoping very much that we're going to have the benefit of the expertise of Wayne O'Kell to join us later. Anyone who knows anything about Forces Rugby League or Rugby League in general will know that Wayne O is an incredible tactician, an incredible coach. I know he's been busy doing some coaching this morning, which is possibly why he's been held up for us this afternoon. But hopefully he'll be joining. Wayne will be joining us a bit later on. It is the Royal Navy to kick off. The referee blows his whistle, and we are underway in this first round match in the Coral Challenge Cup with a great hit already there for the Navy side. There was Louis McKenna going in there hard. The numbers quite difficult for us to make out here. The deep red on the back of their dark blue shirts, but we'll do our best with the discussions for you as the West Hull side get themselves into this game straight away. Ben Arbon there. Obviously in rugby league, only 6 tackles allowed before the ball has to be handed back over. So each side desperate to try and make as much ground as they can. And it's a good charge down for the Navy, and possession won back for them. Great bit of play there for the Navy as they bring that ball forward, and more crunching challenges going in. Yep. Yes. as Dutchy Holland there driving in as the West Hull organising their defence here. Ball flicked across the field there, and that was Lennox Green. Very exciting young player, and that's West Hull have been telling me that, wearing the number 7 this afternoon for the Navy. And it's good early start, this good possession. They made a really good start on this game, and they've got the ball. There's a chance for a try, but I think the referee's brought it back. I think there was a knock on there, but good encouraging signs, Kath, for the Navy early doors. As West Hull now bring it forward, crossing their 20-metre line. Wonderful surge forward, but good tackling. Good start for the Navy here. Partis. And he finds Kerman. Partis again, acting half back there. A nice kick forward as well by Kerman again. That's made some good ground for the Lennox Green. Picks it up, and he will take it into the 20. Familiar sight there of Luke Cooper wearing the number 1 today. And I think one thing that West Hull will find out very quickly is how well organised Steve Lockton has got his team organised. And a penalty to the Navy. And that ball is heading our way. So 3.5 minutes played here. No points on the board just yet. Here's Riley. Yes, we should tell the viewers that we had a right old storm here about half an hour before kick-off, lashing rain across the pitch. But I'm pleased to tell you it's a bright day here, chilly day here in Portsmouth, but ideal for a great game of rugby. West Hull, of course, with such a remarkable record in virtually every level of the game they've ever played, and that includes the Challenge Cup. They were the first team ever to make it through to the 5th round. I'm sure a lot of West Hull fans remember a terrific night in Hull back in 1996. Just break off because it's a lovely move forward for Green. Ball not forward, there was offside. The referee agrees, and so another chance for the Navy. They've got 6 tackles, of course, now. They can really make some ground here. Just saying, a terrific night back in 1996 at the Boulevard in Hull when West Hull defeated York by 10 points to 4 to be the first amateur team ever to make it to the 5th round of the Cup. And I have it on very good authority that the entire York Board of Directors resigned after that game in embarrassment. Well, I'm sure from a Navy point of view they'll be hoping that they get the similar results, but knowing this West Hull team, it's going to be a very difficult game for them. Well, Kath, thanks so much for joining us. I know you're going to resume your touchline duties, and it's a great pleasure, who's literally just arrived here, to welcome Wayne O'Kell to the commentary box. Wayne, I'll just shake your hand and say welcome along. It's great to have you with us today. We're just 5 minutes into this game. You haven't missed any point scoring so far, but it's been a really confident, positive start from the Royal Navy here, who have been very much in control. Lennox Green with a lovely kick, and it's knocked back, and it's going to be a try for the Navy, and it's brilliant play from Steve Riley. Crosses the line, and it's the Royal Navy who got first blood here this afternoon. Well, Wayne, you've joined us at a perfect time. You've seen a very positive start from the Royal Navy, and it's Steve Riley who's crossed over, I'm sure, a player who you've got a lot of time for from your past connections with the Navy.
Absolutely, really nice to see a really clean execution on that right-hand side. A lovely little tap back just inside from the winger to the centre. Really nice as well just to see he's got the confidence to still be the man in his own touching the ball and going after the ball. So that's a great start.
Yes, it could quite easily just gone down and touched down in the corner there. So it's an opportunity for Lennox Green, the halfback, to put one over on his old club, West Hull. In fact, I think he was playing for West Hull last season. But he's got a chance now to add to make it 6-0 here, which would be a terrific start for the Royal Navy here, better than maybe they could even have imagined.
Let's just see what this is like for execution on this one. There we go.
No
6
mistake.
points.
It's
Nice to
6-0.
see there's a big affiliation, John, between West Hull and the Navy. There always has been, and Lennox coming through the 18s at West Hull and playing last season as well. What a great start for him against his old club. That's fantastic.
Well, also he's alongside Danny Johnson, of course, exactly the same. Both lads grew up together in Hull. They've played at virtually every level together, and this is a start. This is a fantastic start for the Navy.
Oh, it's an awesome start. I'm not forgetting as well. There's a great affiliation, as I said, with West Hull, and if you look at the West Hull side, the number 6, Scott Partis, was a mainstay of the Navy. As a halfback for many years, a super talented player.
But you don't recognise his hair, do you?
Yeah, I was going to say you won't recognise him by his hair today, mind you. And I think Jake Moore's also playing for West Hull as well. So Navy legend Carl Moore, his father. He's come through the ranks at West Hull, and he's been on the books at Hull FC as well. So there's a really strong connection with this club. Be really interesting to see where this goes this next 10 minutes.
I mean, the interesting thing really is that West Hull will now know what a match they're going to have against a really fired-up young Royal Navy side. Steve Lockton really is carrying on your tradition, Wayne, of producing, Never Say Die, the band of brothers. They've got brothers written on the back of their shirts, and they're playing like it at the moment. Yeah,
it's been a great start. Lockie's done a great job over the years, and I would say that's a poor kick, mind you, caught in the wind. And this leaves West Hull in a very strong attacking position. Good ball position. 40 out from the Navy line, 20 in from touch on this left-hand side. Be really interested to see what they put on here as well.
Talking to the West Hull boys just before the game started, and this is their first match of the season. They've not had a game. A serious game, so that they're in a serious match. That's Ryan Steen going, the captain. He's going to have a really big role to play, a captain's role here today. Referees
very dynamic player, Ryan Steen, as well. You see Scottish Spaven with his hands on the ball as well, ex-professional. He plays Super League Scott as well, and I think he was also at Doncaster Rovers recently. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of space he gets at the ruck. He's there. He's on a little run down the short side. West Hull set up to this right-hand side.
There's Partis.
That's a poor pass behind.
And a real chance
well
now.
Picked up by the Navy. Oh, great.
And a real chance now for the Navy
nice
to extend their lead. What can they do here? Oh, the ball's just gone the wrong way, really. And it's a shame because Lloyd Williamson could have been onto that. I think the wind maybe carried it. But once again, this is early season gremlins really for West Hull there, because that was a really good opportunity, wasn't it? And you wouldn't expect Partis to make a mistake like that, but they'll be right back as they come forward again.
Very poor pass from Scott Partis, West Hull number 6. But also, what you're seeing is just both teams getting a little bit overexcited. Hull trying to pull the trigger early, too early in the set. And then the Navy, that's a great opportunity. First play, and they overplay it. But here we go, back into West Hull down this short side. Tackled well by
Here's Partis
the Navy.
again.
Here we go, great. Too much on that from Scott Partis. That'll be a tap on the 20 to the Navy.
And Navy will be pleased that that's really the most dangerous that West Hull have been so far in the match. 10 minutes gone here. And the Royal Navy are leading West Hull by 6 points to 0 here in this Coral Challenge Cup first round game. For any fans of the Army who are tuned in, we'll be hoping to keep you in touch with how they're getting on. They're playing Bentley this afternoon up in Doncaster, and I've already seen Nav Navaralora here today. Surprised he's not up in Yorkshire, but he's here today, and no doubt will be keeping half an ear on how the Army are getting on. The RAF play tomorrow, by the way, their match in Hitchin against the North Hertfordshire Crusaders. But this is back with the Royal Navy here, and again Riley, who's had a terrific start to this game. He's got the try, obviously, but he's made a great contribution. McKenna brought to ground by 2 tackles there. And this is really nice play from the Navy.
That is a nice touch.
Danny Johnson in there again.
Yeah, again though, John, Danny just getting that little bit overexcited and overplaying. They just really need to tie that up a little bit, work their way through the sets, just that basic execution, then start to find some rhythm as a consequence, and that will do them no favours whatsoever. Referee not being fooled here. Single carries, they get bodies in. That's good stuff from the Navy. That's a big 10 metres. The referee's taking them back as well.
Yeah, they had to be back, obviously, to avoid an offside decision against them for the tackles.
Ryan Wilson looks good for just come on for Westall. He's got a nice bit of footwork for a big fella. Lovely little spin.
Not to be confused between him and the 2 Tyson Wilsons here, Bobby and Harry, who are again mainstays of this West Hull side. It's West Hull still driving forward. It takes 2 players to bring them down. It's a nice kick forward there by Kerben, and who's on the end of it. There's brilliant bit of play, brilliant play from the Navy there, and they now have the ball back. And
we really need the back 3 to take some pressure off here, and they're doing just that. That's a good 20 metres. What a great return. That'll just put a bit of wind in the sails for the Navy boys.
And here they come
now
again.
We just need that execution through this set. Basic fundamentals. There we go. A little piggyback. Silly play by Westall. Poor discipline.
That was Gavin Duffy there on the end of that. And Steve Lockton, who you can just see him on the far side. Maybe one of our cameras can pick him up there, just on the far side there by the dugout. On the left-hand side, sitting on the bench there, mulling it all over. And he is standing up now with his arms folded, and he'll be absolutely delighted with the way that his players have started this game. Lennox Green will take the penalty and gets the ball up onto the halfway line. And
let's see what kind of shape the Navy look to put on here. So we're starting on the halfway line. 10 metres in from touch. Footwork at the line required.
That's
looks
Riley
very
again.
static. Slow play the ball. Single runners. This is easy for Westall. Easy stuff. Just going through the motions. Looks a little bit of a better play. Well read by the Westall boys. I really like the look of Ryan Steen, John, the Westall captain. A very dynamic player, very physical, and he's a real combatant in there.
They're clearly not panicking yet, are they? I mean,
no.
They don't need to, but they will be. I'm sure they'll be surprised with the way that the Navy have started this game, though.
Oh, for sure. It's really nice as well just to see the Navy playing with a little bit of confidence. Nice little short side sneak. Oh, that's a. It looked like he knocked it on. No, he managed to use his knee on that one, I think.
But Lennox Green there again.
And you see on the outside here with Westall, there's a lot of the big fellas just hands on hips. They've really moved in. They're really concertinaed and in tight there, which that allows the Navy to just compress their line and just get lots and lots of bodies into the tackle as a consequence. Slow the play the ball down. There we go again. 3 bodies into the tackle. Single runners from Westall. Partis with a little short side.
That's Jack Lazenby there, who's gone to ground. Back to Partis.
Jack Lazenby is a strong player as well, but a bit of poor discipline. This is doing him no good here.
And it's interesting, this is several mistakes that Scotty Partis has made now. He's 35 years old. I know he's been carrying an injury. I think quite a few people from the Navy are quite surprised to see him here today.
Yeah, I was speaking to Scott on the bus on the way down last night from Hull, and whilst he's super confident individual, always will be, always has been, and Yeah, I think it's one of those where he passed his fitness test on Tuesday, but it's such a big game for him that coming back down to, play at Burnaby Road, HQ1 for the Navy, that this is a great opportunity that he absolutely didn't want to miss. But then again, there's a little bit of risk involved in that, because if he's carrying an injury, and also if Steve Lockton's smart here, he'll start to marshal his troops and get them to look to put a bit of pressure on Partis, maybe spot him a couple of times on this right-hand side. And let's see if they can do that as well. You see Partis defending one in from touch on this right-hand side. He's got a very strong centre next to him as well, the number 4, Jack Lazenby.
Tell me, Wayne, I mean, you've got some great connections, obviously, with the Hull Rugby League, and West Hull have been an extraordinary club since they started back in the early 60s, haven't they? I think they were Bird's Eye amateur rugby league club.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
And, since then they've won everything there is to win, haven't they? Literally in amateur rugby league.
They've been a fabulous club, a historic club in Hull, and just recognised, I think, the country over. We've been so lucky with some of the talent that we've managed to get from West Hull, for instance. The likes of Danny Fallon, Scott Partis over the years, Danny Johnson, and the rest of the boys that came from Hull, the Steve Locktons of this world, who's now probably the most, the most successful Navy coach of all time, I would say. All these guys came from Hull, made a great contribution to Navy rugby, and what I love about them as well is they've not just finished as players, but they're passionate guys, the passionate fellas. They've really thrown themselves into coaching, officiating, and you name it. They've got rugby league at the very core.
So chance now then, Danny Heaton, he'll take that one forward, and he's people in the crowd not happy with that tackle there on Dutchy Holland, but the Navy building again.
It's nice to see the Navy as well going through the hands again, putting some pressure on.
And surely they're going in for the second try, and they are.
That is a great try, John. That is a great try.
That was fantastic.
In fact, no, it's not. It's not a try.
The referee's brought it back.
That's a tap to West Hull on the 20. Navy need to really re-brigade themselves here.
Well, we were getting very excited here in the commentary box then. A second Royal Navy try.
It's how they respond to it as well, and this is not good, it's almost like the panic bit of defence here by the Navy. They give away a penalty away as well. This is allowing West Hull to go the full length of the field. 35 metres out on this left-hand side.
This is the Forces Network hopefully you're joining us live today from Burnaby Road for coverage of this first round Challenge Cup tie, and wherever you are in the world, whether you're on a Royal Navy ship in the middle of an ocean somewhere, or wherever you are within the Forces world or across the civilian world, perhaps you're watching in Hull today, you are more than welcome for our live coverage here. I'm joined by Wayne O'Kell, who's got an incredible record. In fact, just really listening to the way you're talking, Wayne, you're almost, and it's just to break off because chance now for the West Hull side to get themselves back in, but great defending. You're almost thinking like sort of 30 seconds ahead, really.
Yes, rugby league's like a game of chess here, and you just watch. You can't go from your own touching goal full length, and it looks like West Hull have scored here. That's the 14. That's Jake Moore.
And is it a try?
It's a try. It's a really good, well-worked try as well, but piggybacked all the way by the Navy. And you can't go, what I'm saying there, John, is you can't go from your own touching goal, full length of the field, without giving a penalty away. When you're defending, they've gone all the way through the full set twice there and scored with Jake Moore. And there's a really nice touch here as well, because Jake Moore's dad used to be Navy captain Carl Moore, who as an ex-frontline Navy frogman and PTI, left the Navy, went back to West Hull, captain West Hull. He also played for Barla. So Jake Moore comes from great pedigree there, and his dad's done some fantastic things on this ground over the years. So it's nice to see his son crossing the whitewash for a 4-pointer as well.
Yep, which brings it back to 6-4, and halfway through this first half. Here at Burnaby Road, and a chance now for Ryan Wilson, who I watched a bit earlier on practicing all his various conversion and goal kicks from a variety of locations at this left-hand side of the Burnaby Road pitch, and I don't think he actually missed one of them during the practice, so I would confidently predict that he will get this one over. And that will level things up.
Ryan Wilson's got a great boot as well, John.
A left footer. And that is no problem at all.
That's an easy 2 points. So we've got an arm wrestle on the go here, John.
We have indeed.
Just touching on Ryan Wilson, who just managed to almost backheel that one over as well. He's been a real favourite of the Westall club for many years. I think he was actually the Players' Player of the season last year. He's a very well respected player, and we picked him out earlier. He's got great feet. You watch him in the middle as this game starts to go, like sort of 10 minutes in from half time, and the last sort of 10 to 15 minutes of the game. If Ryan Wilson's in there, you'll see he's got great footwork at the line for a big fella, and little things will start to happen around him. I would estimate.
What message do you think Steve Lockton's trying to get out to his boys at the moment? Keep calm, just keep doing what you were doing, or
more than anything, it's just to execute those basic skills. So go down to the work around the play of the ball, that you run in twos, you push for each other, you back yourself to get another touch on the ball. The little things like footwork at the line. This is a great break from Westall. Good tackle as well.
That was Lazenby.
He's a strong player, that Lazenby on his left-hand side centre. The Navy are under pressure here. Nathan Lee, very strong.
That's Harry Tyson Wilson on the ball now, and he finds Ben Arbon. He was originally done as a replacement today, but he's brought himself. He's come into the starting lineup.
Do you know what, John? I was just going to say then, I thought that was too much from the Navy. I thought they were very lucky there to get that, because they were just holding on too long, and that was an error, a knock-on by Westall in the tackle. But that's the Navy really playing it close to the line. But you know what? It's really nice to see that, one of the big clubs, from Hull like Westall coming down here, and the Navy not getting overawed by them and actually playing with the same level of skill and competency. This game's really surprising me, because I thought it was going to be Westall all the way here, but the Navy are really doing well. They're in it.
Most definitely. They've got a great record in the Challenge Cup, of course, Wayne. And last year, they only lost on a golden point to Normanton Knights in the first round here, despite being down to 12 players for most of the match. And it's that sort of spirit that they're bringing into this. And of course, their victory over the Australians, a whitewash over the Australian forces at the end of the year.
Yeah, that was fabulous.
Steve's brought this into the squad.
Lovely little tip on from Jack Basher.
Great play.
Just needs to step inside there, and he does that really well.
It's Josh Copeland.
A little bit too much. Jack Lazenby's lucky there from Westall. Steve Riley, old head. That's not a bad kick. It keeps them penned into that side. They just need to compress up on the outside and put these runners. That's a great tackle. Put these runners under pressure.
It was on the sixth tackle, so Riley had to kick there really to make as much ground as he could.
Yeah, no choice really.
Lee going in there, Jamie Lee. And a point that Kath Brazier made a bit earlier on, actually, before you arrived. Of course, the Westall team are wearing roughly the same colour strip that the Aussies wore, so that maybe he's given the Royal Navy a bit more of an incentive. Bit of a boost.
Yeah, there could be a little bit of a sublime message in there, but here we go. This is the thing that I'm sure Coach Lockton will be getting onto is trying to strip these errors out of the game. This is just really poor. From a player's perspective, when you're in that line and you've defended for 3 or 4 tackles, and then you get a penalty against you, and then the next minute you're 10 metres away from your own try line, that is really difficult to. That's not the reward that you're looking for.
But they're inside the 20-metre half, or in 20-metre part of the field. West Hull again, they're looking very dangerous as they drive forward. Nathan Powell, he's tackled. Behind him is Scott Spavin. He'll pick it up.
Scotty Spavin just starting to find a little bit of space there, John. You can just see that. And the space that Scott Spavin finds around the ruck always turns up wider on the outside.
Tyson Wilson looks a real handful there, as does Ryan Wilson.
maybe a little bit of this early pre-season blues here, where just looking to the outside, there's not a great deal on.
Oh, and is he in for another
looks
try?
Like he scored there.
It is another try, and it looked to me like it was the man over was Bobby Tyson Wilson there for the try for West Hull.
Yeah, he's a son of former Hull FC player, I think, isn't he?
He is, yeah, of Rob Wilson.
Rob Wilson, yeah, I thought I recognised that. Bobby Tyson Wilson. But yeah, again, so this is both West Hull tries have just come from back-to-back errors from the Navy. The Navy have finished really well. They finished deep in the West Hull half, and then what's happened is West Hull have started to work their way out of there. They're not making a great deal of ground, and then suddenly, poor discipline from the Navy. They give a penalty away, and then West Hull find themselves with a restart 10 metres out from 20 metres out from the Navy line. So the Navy really need to tighten up this discipline here to get back into this game.
They're trailing by 10 points to 6 at the moment. It could well become 12-6 if Ryan Wilson puts this conversion over.
I'd expect Ryan Wilson to slot this one as well.
It's a swirling wind round here at Burnaby Road today, which means the ball is flying in all directions. But as I said earlier on, Ryan Wilson looking very confident with the boot. And he has every right to be, because it's now...
It's an easy 2 points on his favoured left foot.
And that takes the score to 12 points to 6 in favour of the visitors here. We've been playing 27 minutes of the match. On my stopwatch, obviously, they'll be adding a few extra moments for the various stoppages that we have. But we're just over halfway through the first half here in this Coral Challenge Cup first round match. Royal Navy 6, West Hull 12 is the latest score. And the fact that West Hull have pulled themselves back into this.
That was really unlucky there, but you just can't do it. You cannot lift the legs higher than the hips. The referee's going to have a word with Nathan Lee here.
Yeah, Steve Race is the referee today. The UK Armed Forces referee. His two touch judges are from the RAF and from the Army, James Hartley and Ben Bragg. Ben Bragg on this near side here is the Army touch judge, and on the far side of the field, the RAF's James Hartley.
So here we go again, and we seem to be developing a little bit of an issue with this. The Navy giving penalties away, John. So we're over the halfway line straight away. So we're in good ball territory for West Hull. Partis looks to see one of the big fellas there, Lee Cater. Lee Cater's been with the West Hull club for many years, a very well respected front row forwards.
Powley brought to ground. And Spavin will spread it to the left to Cater again.
Good hands from
Cater.
A
lovely run
Partis
through,
clean
and
through.
Partis.
And a great step from Partis. Just overplays it though. And it's gone back to one touch by the Navy right winger. Ryan Wilson, same again, great feet. They've really got to tie Ryan Wilson up and tie the offload up as well. Just get a hand over the ball when he's got it. And you can see now Ryan Wilson and Lee Cates are starting to just work together. They're setting a platform here, John.
It's grinding the Navy down, isn't it? Unfortunately.
And what you don't need is a confident Scott Partis playing off the back of those guys when they've started to launch a little bit of a platform like that.
It's all West Hull at the moment. This will be this is the fifth tackle, I think. So they'll have to do something with the ball after this, but they're still entrenched really on the Navy line, very close to the line again.
Fifth and last.
Comes out to Tyson Wilson, kick forward, and he gets the ball back. Here's Partis. It's a lovely ball across, but fumbled slightly by the number 5, Jamie Lee, but still West Hull have the ball, and they've got a real chance here. Jack Lazenby.
Little nudge in.
But the Navy won it back.
And you can see as well, John, right at this moment, West Hull are starting to play with a lot of confidence. You can see, let's just see how energised they are off this line as well. Spavin taking them up on this left-hand side. We need some fast feet in here. The Navy really needs their back three, their 1, 2 and 5, and to link up with the centres and get us out of here.
I said this is the first game of the season really for West Hull. They've got a really busy programme coming up, I think, over the next few weeks. So a match like this is absolutely massive for them, isn't it? It's a really good workout for them.
Yeah, it's a great start to the season for them. You know, the National Prem is a great competition, and this kind of thing, you know, whilst it, you know, it boosts the profile in the Challenge Cup, it also gives them a good first look at, you know, what the side's going to look like for the rest of the season, I dare say.
That was a terrific kick forward there from Lennox Green for the Navy, just to relieve the pressure a little bit. And see the scrum down now. But well done, Green, because that was hand it to the Navy there. They survived that pressure really well. They could quite easily have considered another try.
Yeah, you know, it's those basic errors, and it's just discipline in the fourth and fifth that you just hand in West Hull. You know, this free ride all the way downfield. Let's see if they can wrestle this one back in this set.
But it's West Hull driving forward.
Smart little plays at the ruck. You can see the influence that Spaven's having on the ruck here as well. There we go. You know, Scott Spaven's got a look at Cameron Smith as well, you know, the former Australian and Melbourne captain, Queensland superstar. Very composed.
As West Hull drive forward again, here's Lee.
West Hull full line set here. Looks like this ball's going to go in the air, I think.
Kerman.
Not a great kick from Ian Kerman.
But the referees brought it back. The scrum goes to West Hull.
And there's no let up. You know, the West Hull, they're just relentless. They've had like I guess like a 15 or 20 minute period where they've dominated possession, dominated throughout the whole length of the field. And here they are again, 15 metres out from the Navy line.
Well, we've got about 8 minutes to go in this first half, maybe a little bit more than that with the extra time that'll be added on for various stoppages. But still the Navy are in it here. It's only 12-6 to West Hull, and if they can cut out these errors and get a bit more possession maybe, then I'm sure that Steve Loxton's saying that all is not lost here. But it's 12-6 to West Hull, driving forward again. Partis, it's a lovely little move there with Ryan Wilson as they drive for the line again, and it looks like it's been given the try.
And it's the same scenario, I'm afraid, John. You know, it's just errors. Yet again, errors and poor discipline.
And it looks like Ryan Wilson has gone over for that try. A third try for the visitors here.
Just trying to see as well, John, what you know, whether there's any influence from the bench, whether there looks to be any changes to freshen this up a little bit. Or any instructions from Coach Lockton at this stage.
I think what he'll want to do, he'll want to get the players in at half time, won't he? And maybe just give him the try and inject a little bit into them.
Yeah, I don't think half time can come quick enough for them, to be honest.
Well, there's just over 6 minutes to go here as Wilson goes for his third kick, and it is a success.
That's 18-6 to West Hull. And it looks like a very tired Navy side making their way back to the halfway line.
They just need to get a bit of possession, don't they? They had a bit of...
That's it. You know, when one team are dominating possession and have got the football, you know, it just becomes really difficult because all you're doing is defending all the time. And it becomes really tough, and you find that you're very low in emotion, and you've got to match the emotion and the confidence of the guys that are bringing the ball out.
I mean, the Navy's defence, they're playing against quite a strong wind here, which West Hull have used very much to their advantage. As another drive forward from Tyson Wilson, Bobby Tyson Wilson. He finds the number 7, Ian Kerman, and Kerman is still on the ball. He's brought to ground eventually by 2 tackles, but it's a real opportunity for West Hull to increase their lead now. The ball goes out there.
Great pass from Partis. Oh, it looks like he's dropped it over the line.
And Lee he drops the ball there.
Jamie Lee's dropped that ball over the line.
And that could quite easily have been a fourth try there for West Hull. But it remains 18-6 here. There's an injury to one of the Navy lads there at the moment.
You can see the kind of influence that Spavin's having on the game as well now. This last sort of 10 minutes, the ruck area has really loosened up. The two markers from the Navy and their A and B defenders are very loose, and you can see the fatigue and quite slack in there. Spavin spotted that. He's working very, very closely with Ian Kermit on the right-hand side and Partis linking off the left-hand side, and they're just exploiting that. And that's when you can then find all those holes, like the big runners like Bobby Tyson Wilson. They just come on a good line, get a little tip on from one of the halves, and they're straight through. And West Hull, you see this green and gold pouring through in numbers. You know, it's really nice to see the confidence that with which they're playing at, considering this is their first game of the season as well. Well done, West Hull. Can the Navy bounce back?
Well, obviously, you know, we certainly hope so, because it would be great to make a real fight of this in the second half. And it looks to me it's the number 13.
Is that Jack Basher?
It's Jack Basher who's down, yeah, and it looks like he's going to have to leave the field here.
Looks like Jack Basher's leaving the field. That'll be a shame. One of the strike weapons for the Navy, Jack Basher. Very strong, dynamic player. And it looks like he's holding his left arm. Whether that's his arm or his shoulder, we're not quite sure at this stage.
No replacement coming on just at the moment, so maybe the Navy are hopeful that they'll get Jack back onto the pitch as soon as. But it's the Navy who drive it forward again, and they brought to ground by 3 tackles.
See the confidence West Hull are playing with here.
Yeah.
And the Navy really need a penalty to go for them.
That was Lewis McKenna there, who's once again is brought to ground. That's the second tackle.
Do you know, John, I think this is the hardest bit of the game. Being tackled in the sport of rugby league, you know, with the combative way that we tackle these days. And when you're on your own line and you're a single runner and you've got 3 or 4 fellas on you, it is really tough. That's why you've just got to be so well conditioned these days to play the game.
And these guys know when to tackle, don't they? It's not a question of strength in numbers. They know exactly when to go in for it. But this is good drive forward from the Navy here, relieving the pressure.
Looks like the Navy have got a new half back on as well.
Yeah, and that is Tunibuana.
Ball caught in the wind.
Mika Tunibuana has come on as a replacement at number 14 for the Navy.
Confident catch from young Jack Lee as well from West Hull on that difficult kick which hung in the wind. He's only a young fella, you know, but the one thing I like about Jack is he's an absolutely fearless competitor. I'd like to watch him closely this next couple of years, and he looks very, very physical and very well conditioned as well. I think he's got a very, very bright future in the game. See the strong runners from West Hull now.
They are indeed.
And this is starting to take its toll around the ruck area.
That will be a dead ball once it'll go out, but still in play. Interesting to see. Look on the far side of the field, number 2 for West Hull, Luke Moss. His nickname is Salmon, the Salmon, because he leaps so high apparently in the air.
See, West Hull have just got Josh Wood on as well, so unfortunately they're just ramping it up that little bit further. So Josh is a former Hull FC player, very, very talented individual. So you're taking Scott Spavin off, that's created chaos for the Navy and really dominated that ruck, and then you just put in this injection of pace. It's a great 1-for-1.
You see how the wind played its part there as well.
See, Jack Lazenby's very strong. He's still on his feet. He just needs to get bodies in the tackle here on him.
And we're into the last minutes, in fact to the last few seconds of normal time. There will be some extra added, of course, by the independent timekeepers. As again, Jacob Moore goes forward, brought to ground by 2 more Navy tacklers.
Lee Cater again. Big, strong, barnstorming prop forward. Out to Partis. That's a nice little tip on. That is just an easy play for Jack Lazenby again to score. And what you're seeing now is you're seeing fatigue setting in for the Navy. The last 10 minutes, some changes to key personnel. and then look what happens. Back to back, little disciplinary issues or little errors from the Navy, and Westhull taking advantage of those. Scott Partis pulling the trigger.
I think it's easy to criticise the Navy, I suppose, Wayne, but I mean, all credit to this Westhull side. They have absolutely dominated this match, and you know, they totally deserve to be where they are. But all credit to the Navy, they're still hanging on in there. Made a great start to the game. If that second try had been given, you know, it might have been a bit different, but at 22-6, going to be 24-6, and it's Partis who's going to actually take this kick this time. I'm sure he'd like to get his name on the score sheet, wouldn't he, against his old employers.
I have no doubt about that. And you know, this game, just with a couple of little errors, this game could have absolutely tipped the opposite way if they'd have gone in favour of the Navy, you know, in that first sort of 15-20 minutes. But it's a very cruel game, and you see the balance of power shift, and yeah, and it's how the Navy caught with this second 40. Over to Scott Partis.
Well, he just about made it.
Slips and still scored. Left peg, 4-iron, straight over.
Which takes the score now to 24-6 in favour of the visitors here, Westhull. And we are very much now into added time at the end of this first half. And
morale's looking quite low in the Navy ranks here. They just need just something to go for them, I guess.
Well, I'm sure Steve Lockton will do what he can to get that morale back up. And who knows, an early try in the second half might just give the momentum back to the Navy. Is there any danger, you think, of complacency on the side of part of Westhull?
Oh, I think there's every danger of that. You know, all you need is a little bit of overconfidence, and the great thing is, you know, that the half-time period can come. You know, there are a good number of scores ahead, and that can actually, you know, start that overconfidence just to creep in. And all the Navy need to start the second half is a little opportunity, something to go their way.
But that's a fantastic run from Tyson Wilson, and he's going to take. Partis is going to score, and he has done. Well, he'll be delighted about that.
Well, we talk about running in numbers, John, you know, and that's a great example of that. Scott Partis, Harry Tyson Wilson hitting a great line near the ruck off Josh Wood. Scott Partis trailing Harry Tyson Wilson, just expecting another touch on the football, and you know what, he got it. They get a 2-on-1 with the full-back, turn it back on the inside, and Partis unfortunately scores more points against his old employer.
It was a terrific try from Westhull. Their fifth try of the game, and they really are in total control here now. 28-6 is the score at the moment, and Partis is going to take this as well. Will this be his Partis shot? Possibly not.
Possibly not. Not until Ryan Wilson gets back on anyway. But Partis, and it looks like it's on his favoured left peg as well.
I bet he doesn't slip over this time. Yeah, no mistake there.
That's an easy 2 points. That takes us to 30 points to 6 at half-time.
And that is half-time. 30 points to 6 is the half-time score.
Bit of a mountain to climb for the Navy, but you know, it's there's a lot of points still left in this game.
So as the players leave the field, in a moment, I'm hoping that Kath Brazier will be having a chat down on the touchline to several members of both sides to get their view on things. To just sort of summing up that first halfway, and it's absolutely fabulous to have you here with us this afternoon. It's pretty soul-destroying for the Royal Navy as they leave the field. They've got they made such a great, strong start, didn't they? And a second try might have made all the difference. But there they are. They trail by 30 points to 6 at half-time. What will Steve Lockton be able to say to his players at half-time?
Do you know, I think more than anything, well, first of all, it's really nice to be here as well. So thanks for the invite, John. It's great to be back here. You know, Challenge Cup Rugby League on a Saturday at HQ1. You know, there's no better place to be, especially when you've got northern teams coming down and visiting. Yeah, I think Coach Lockton will he'll just look at, you know, carrying the ball forward, doing the basics, securing the ball, you know, being patient. it's as simple as that. The game is won and lost with being patient and carrying out those fundamentals, pushing for each other in twos. That's the thing that'll get them back in the game. It really will. They're strong enough in defence. They've got the know-how. Young Lennox just linking really well to hit some of those forwards just outside of that 1 and 2's play, and the Navy could really forge their way back in early doors on this one.
Wayne, great to have you with us as back obviously for the second half as the players come out, but we're going to go down to the touchline now and join Kath Brazier, who is down there by the side of the pitch, and hopefully she's got a few good guests to talk to.
Okay, well, thanks to John and Wayne for some great first half commentary. I'm joined now by West Hull's assistant coach, Glyn Jones. Glyn, I know there was probably a slight aberration on their part in the first 5 minutes in letting the Navy in for that early try, but since then it's been pretty convincing from West Hull.
Yeah, it was quite. I think we started off a little bit frustrated. We was trying a little bit too hard. The completion rate was down. The penalty count was up. As soon as we settled down, starting to hit our points now. We're starting to complete our sets, win the ruck, and we're starting to gradually take control of the game now. Yeah.
And I suppose it's quite early in the season, so you haven't really necessarily got a formed team yet. So you're still trying a few things out.
No, it's the first game of the season. I think we're playing 4 lads out of position today. We've got an hooker playing second row. We've got an halfback playing at hooker, and we've got 2 debutants playing. We've got a lad coming up from the academy who was, even though we've been having 40, 45 training every week, and then we're struggling not struggling to put a team out, but struggling to get everyone in decent positions. It's a good run out, it's a good hit out, and the lads are showing up pretty well.
For a really well-established team like West Hull, when that first round of Challenge Cup comes up and you're put up against someone like the Royal Navy, which is, the military teams are probably slightly different to other teams, what are the challenges that face you? What do you think about when those draw comes out?
Every time you hear with the Navy or the Army, everyone says, oh well, so-and-so beat them last year, so-and-so beat them by this score, but you know yourself, you can't go by the scores last year. You have a new recruitment every year, you have people training, you have new coaches coming in. You can't go on past, you turn up, you concentrate on your game, you do your things right, and hopefully the game will go your way. You can't focus on what they're going to do. We just focus on our game, and it's working so far.
And it seems a really lovely link-up. I think a lot of the Navy boys are from Hull, and you've got a few players in the side who've got military affiliations or who've even played for the Navy.
We've got Scott Partis, the halfback, the lad who's kicked the last 2 goals. He was in the Royal Navy. He's been out this morning, met up with a few of his mates. Jake Moore is his own man, looking like Uncle Albert on the sideline. And then we've got Danny Johnson and Lennox Green playing for the Navy there, West Hull boys. And then there's a lad, McKenna, he's a cousin of our secretary. So yeah, it's a good affiliation. It's good to get down and have the lads all getting along together.
And finally, what do you think will be said in half-time talks? Sort of just keep going. I think the Navy is a bit strewn with errors, so just keep going, putting that pressure on.
It's just what we said after the first Navy try. We concentrate on what we do. We win the ruck, we hit our points, and we hit our inside shoulders. If we do what we do, there's not many teams that'll stand in front of us, to be fair.
Okay, Glyn. Well, it could be that the weather plays a part in the second half. Yes.
And the wind, yeah.
The wind and the weather.
A factor, yeah.
Well, thanks very much for talking to us. We'll try and find someone for the Royal Navy, but for the moment, let's go back to John and Wayne.
You.
Thanks, Glyn.
Kath, thanks very much indeed. Good to hear from the West Hull perspective, and I'm not sure if we can get the Royal Navy perspective at all on the game so far. And fortunately, the weather is starting to close in on us here as we expected it to do. And Wayne has just been telling me actually off microphone, it's actually his birthday today. So Wayne, we should have brought a cake for you or something along to help celebrate. And I gather, and thanks to your good lady wife and the rest of your family for delaying your birthday celebrations today to come and join us.
Yeah, I mean, I daren't say live on air that what a place to be. Standing to John Knighton, when in the rain for 80 minutes,
people pay money for this.
Yeah, absolutely, fantastic. But I've been 36 now for, I think it's about 17 years, so.
Best way to be.
Yeah. Best place to be, yeah, absolutely.
In fact, Scott Partis said something very similar earlier on, actually, that he's been 35 for a while. It doesn't seem to have affected his game so far today. I mean, you must have been, from what we've seen so far, been so impressed with the way that the West Hull have taken this game on, because as we say, it's their first game of the season. It's they've not had they played a fixture actually last weekend against Hull University, who of course are their main sponsors. It's sort of and it was I think a victory for them, sort of an early cup competition for them, a sort of community cup. But they are the current Bala Cup holders as well, aren't they? And
they are,
reading their history, it's incredible, their history.
It's fantastic. I mean, they're such a strong club down there. Up there, I should say. And they're just such a rich club. A great feeder team for the likes of Hull FC and Hull KR. They've produced a whole host of players that have gone to make it in the professional ranks. And all credit to them as well. They're such a great club and a good family club as well. And you've only got to look at how they travel and who they bring down with them as well. It's it really is a credit to them. But also, it's worthwhile just thinking about the Navy as well, John, because the Navy's just produced some fantastic talent over the years. Equally, through to the professional ranks, the likes of Jordan James, who finished his time with Wigan and was the most capped Wales player of all time. I think actually joint with Ian Watson, who's the current Salford coach. He was a fabulous player in his day as well. Ryan Hepworth, who played for Dewsbury Rams, Carl Moore, whose son who's playing today for West Hull.
Indeed.
Jake Moore, who captained the Navy, captained West Hull, and went on to play for Bala, and also Melvin Alker as well, from the Navy, who played for Great Britain Community Lions and was the captain of Wigan St Pat's for many years.
And we also have to bear in mind that Royal Navy Rugby, in fact indeed Forces Rugby, is still, if you compare it with the rest of the amateur game, it's still very much in its infancy. I mean, a lot of them, heading towards 25 years of Forces Rugby League. I think the Navy, we're talking 21, 22 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah.
But you're building up your history as well. In fact, I really should just tell you that half-time news from Bentley, where the Army are playing Bentley from Doncaster today. 6-6 is the half-time score there. 6-8 to the Army. The Army, in fact, are just ahead in that game, which is terrific news. And as you can see, the score has just been flashed up on the screen for us as well by our director Sarah today. So fantastic to hear that the Army are ahead, and that was always going to be a difficult one, because I think the Army were very much seen as being the favourites to win that game against a Yorkshire League side. But similar, almost the opposite. Hull very much, the strong side expected to win here today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Forces Rugby League, like you say, the Navy's been going for 21 years. 1997 when it all kicked off and official recognition was received and whatnot. And it's about building their own history, building the structures and the systems and the culture that they've got these days. And like the Navy, for instance, have had a fabulous few years under Coach Loxton. A 3-0 series whitewash against the Australians in November last year, 2018, to close the season down. And they're looking for a big 2019 as well. And they're out early. Coach Loxton let them out to start with, and the Navy's out here. They've got the wind at their backs to start this second half. Playing from the sea down into central Portsmouth. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they come out, how they respond. Let's hope they don't react, but they actually respond, and they respond in a very smart manner.
Well, Danny Johnson just down here in front of us. I don't know if we can just focus in on him. Number 8, right in front of us for the Navy, wearing number 8 this afternoon. He's very much a West Hull lad through and through, and he'll be anxious for them to get back in, at least to develop some semblance of respectability to the score.
Absolutely, and I saw Danny and a couple of carries from Danny in the first half as well. And there's just when you're playing against your old club, you can often get overexcited or over emotional and look to do that little bit too much. And there was a couple of times when Danny didn't need to force the pass, and he did, and little errors come as a consequence of that. And you can see him here having a bit of fun with his opposite numbers from the right hand of attack of the West Hull side. And I just hope that Coach Loxton's got those words and just mentioned it. He's got in the ear of some of his big time players just to say, let's operate with a little bit of patience here and let's grind our way back into this game.
But it's going to be a long, hard road for the Royal Navy here. They're trailing by 30 points to 6. We're live here on the Forces Network on our Facebook page this afternoon. We're also live on our Forces Sports Show YouTube channel as Lennox Green gets the second half underway for West Hull, and it'll be interesting to see how the Navy, whether they've been turbocharged by some of those oranges they've had at half-time, Wayne. What did you used to give them at half-time?
Yeah, just a few quiet words, really, more than anything. I learned from I was lucky, I had a fabulous mentor in Ken Taylor. Actually, there's a great link. Ken Taylor has played over 240 games for Bentley, and he'll be down there supporting. Actually, I would imagine he'd be. I don't know whether he'd be supporting Bentley or the Army today, but he had a great mentor with Ken Taylor, and he's been a big influence on the likes of the young players that have become coaches these days, the likes of Steve Lockton. So we were very lucky, John, very lucky. Anyway, here we go, West Hull. That's a great kick from the Navy, finishing deep on this one. Just don't want to overplay too much.
Which they have done, haven't they?
This is the kind of start that they needed as well. Exactly what we'd called up for. This is what was required. But what's required on this set more than anything is a little bit of patience from the Navy side. John Clay with his hands on the ball. It's a short left-hand side.
Puts the ball in, and it's
Lennox Green.
That's Danny Johnson, I think, isn't it, there?
I think it tips off Big Steve Riley there, actually.
Yeah, right. And this is really important for the Navy if they can get an early score.
This is where they need to link together in twos as well. Nathan Lee is a strong man, very athletic, very dynamic. That is a steal. That is a great steal. There we go, John. Just what we wanted. Just what we wanted to start this second half. A hooker's absolute dream. Well done, the Navy.
And I must admit, I didn't see who the scorer was there, Wayne, because the pillar just right on the way from where we were. But I think it was it the...
And that was Mika, I think. Yeah,
Mika,
that was Mika. Yeah.
Getting the credit, so...
Do you know what I loved as well, John, was his approach to the play of the ball. He'd spotted it before he even got there. And I just watched him starting to use his hand to try and make it look as if it was going to go outside of him. And then he just buried himself across the whitewash. It was a lovely little play from Mika.
And the West Hull caught cold there a little bit, do you think?
And this is it, yeah, absolutely. We just mentioned this before at half-time. We were talking about what their response is going to be. Will they come out, from the sheds at half-time, just a little bit of overconfidence, a little bit too relaxed.
Lennox Green then with the attempted conversion here. Really important that every point that they can get, they can make the most of in these early stages of the second half. And that's
a great 2 points.
Really good kick.
And you can see the old stager there, John, as well, Steve Penberthy. Here's a great advert for anyone who wants to look after themselves through life. 63 years old, the Navy water carrier, and he looks like a man carved out of bronze.
So 12 points now to the Royal Navy. They've still got a few more to make up, though, against the West Hull side here. 30 points to the visitors, but a really perfect start for the Navy to this second half. And whether they can build on it, well, we'll be finding out over the next 38 minutes or so. But a really excellent start for the Navy to the second
Another
half.
Great catch.
And once again, it's the Navy bringing the ball clear.
Operating with a bit of patience here. This is nice to see. They're really starting to build a bit of confidence here, the Navy.
As Mika again is at the
Lennox
centre.
Green, Steve Riley on that inside trail as well. That's starting to look pretty good. Mika jumps out. Nice little play, just a little tip onto the outside. Fifth and last, they just crossed over the halfway line. They've gone down the same side, which is quite a smart move.
As Harry Tyson Wilson picks it up and across to the young number 2, Luke Moss, 17 years old. And he's the, as I said, he has this nickname of the salmon. I haven't seen him leap yet, though.
No, I haven't seen him leap yet. It's great to see young fellas coming through the ranks as well.
But we haven't really had a chance to talk about West Hull's youth policy, which has I think, has been such a key to their success over the last few years.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, like the Navy's benefited from that over the last decade as well. I may say, Jack Lazenby, as we're talking, Jack Lazenby just broke down the left-hand side.
That's a great run,
strong run, gone round the outside.
They're not going to stop him, and that is a brilliant try from Lazenby.
And that came out of nothing, John, as well. That came out of just a great catch on this right-hand side by Luke Moss, and salmon or not today, it all started from Luke Moss. So the platform was laid around Luke Moss.
Oh, that was the try of the match so far, beyond a doubt. And such a shame for the Navy, because they obviously made that great start, but it's kick-started the West Hull side again in this second half, hasn't it? And made them realise, actually, we can't take these boys in the dark blue shirts for granted at all.
That's it, yeah, absolutely. A little bit of emotion from the Navy to start, and you just see West Hull match it. And this is you see them doing this in the National Conference League week in, week out, against great opposition. And a great experience for the Navy as a consequence. This is what you're playing against. You're playing against guys that have played Super League, guys that have played at the top level of the amateur game for many years, and bringing through some of the most dynamic, athletic, young, talented individuals through the West Hull system. You're against a very, very strong team today.
It's very interesting. I'm talking to Steve Lockton a bit earlier. I mean, and I'm sure that the West Hull team are exactly the same. Their coaching staff. The Challenge Cup obviously is brilliant to get a run, isn't it, to get a cup run, but actually these matches are really important for the build-up to the season. As Partis misses with the conversion there, that's the first miss of the afternoon of any sort actually in front of the post. But talking to Steve Lockton, he's already got in his mind the inter-services in September.
Yeah, I mean, I used to differ, because my focus as a coach was all on Challenge Cup. I used to love the Challenge Cup. We'd regularly get through the first round, second round, into the third round. We've had some games, some games that guys still talk about these days. Fabulous games, in the Challenge Cup. And also, I love the international opposition as well. Playing against the Aussies, playing against the Kiwis, they were always big features for me. And but that's not taking anything away from the inter-services. Inter-services that's the prime time games, towards the back end of the summer for all three services.
And of course, the Navy had a fantastic record, didn't they, as well? Was it 3 successive championships?
Yeah, 3 on the bounce.
So with you,
absolutely
leading them from the front, and then obviously the RAF had some success as well. And the Army, it took them 5 years to win the title back last year.
Yeah, the Army were dominant for many years at the start. They, Rich Navaralur, was as a player and as an administrator and then a coach. They've always been very dominant, and the Army have had this rich talent. Swelling the ranks for many years, and then they just lost the way a little bit. Lost the way a little bit in the game. That is a high shot there from Hull.
Yeah,
let's just see if he comes up with this. Good return from the Navy right winger.
And that was, I think, Luke Cooper, who's took the hit there. He seems to be okay.
Coops is up and moving around very well. Coops is a very athletic player, I think in this second half, if you can find Luke Cooper on a good ball on a long line, from maybe a quick play of the ball, he will find space for you.
Of course, he's a Hull boy too.
He is.
Luke. He's from Hessel, I think, or from where is it? He's based at RNAS Yeovilton. I know that anyway.
I think he's from West Hull. Luke Cooper originally.
Yeah, from West Hull. Now, saying earlier on, we could have played this game on a park pitch somewhere in Hull. It would have been out of place, because the majority of the players, obviously, are, even half the Navy team are from from this wonderful East Yorkshire city.
Danny Johnson, Meeker at half. Let's have a look what goes on here. Steve Riley, that was pretty well read. West Hull mapping out very well on that Navy right-hand side attack.
I think Steve Riley's had a terrific game for the Navy this afternoon. He's used all his experience to the very best of his ability.
Little offload to the ground, buys another 5 or 6 metres.
You see, what the Navy really need from here as well is just one quick play of the ball. Bit of a stunted play.
There's
the
Johnson,
shape's
Danny
pretty
Johnson,
poor from the Navy,
still
but
going
nevertheless
through.
they're still getting through the set. Fifth and last leaves them centre field, 20 out. John Clay with his hands on the ball. That looks like it was played at as well. That'll be interesting. Is that back to one? Yes, it's back to one. That's great for the Navy.
So
It's the
real
kind
chance
of pressure
then.
we need.
Yeah, real chance for the Navy to make the most of this.
Nathan Lee. Steve Riley with the ball.
And here they
Lennox
go again.
Green going on his own. He's got two runners, one on the inside, one on the outside.
And it
John
all comes-
Clay. Oh, just a little error there. Overplaying again.
Proves so costly. And
So
West
that's
Hull will get the scrum, and so the opportunity lost, and therein lies maybe the issues they've had this afternoon.
Yeah, and it's just about flipping this as an opportunity. So if you flip this and you get it into your players that, 20 metres out from the West Hull line, there's a great opportunity to really exert some pressure defensively.
We're just beyond
Single
10 minutes.
runner.
Yeah. Just beyond 10 minutes into this second half here, as West Hull being challenged again. Looks
That's
like
the kind of
Navy
pressure I'm
won it
talking
back.
about, John, as well. That is exactly what should. Oh no, and it was just too much. Absolutely too much. He was perfect up to that point. Exerted the pressure, got on top, dominated a young 17-year-old winger, putting him back, and then suddenly what happens? They just do too much. Takes the pressure clean off again. I can see Coach Lockton being very frustrated with little instances like this. West Hull deciding to tap rather than kick to touch because it's centre field.
As West Hull bring it clear again.
That looks like Josh Wood as
Was
well.
Josh Wood, yeah. Brought to ground by three players. And
Now
this
they
is,
start to get the big fellas rolling. That's a
Wilson.
great little tip on. Ian Kerman, and it looks like the referee's had enough here. Danny Johnson, bit of fatigue creeping in, and just throws out a stray arm.
bit of frustration as well, I imagine, as well, Wayno, because Danny will be so disappointed at the moment with the margin of the difference in points that he's so anxious really to make a really close fight of this afternoon. But they're just going to keep their discipline, and who knows.
Do you know, it's knowing the game as well. This is the kind of this will be. I'm hoping it's these kind of things that they learn from, and it really develops their experience, because there's a great opportunity here, and the opportunity here, this 10 minutes to really claw the way back in the game, and it's been missed. And I'm hoping that when they do their match review from here, that they can really understand what's gone on and how it's gone on, because they're really matching West Hull in many departments, and the only thing they're doing is they're just the discipline is causing errors.
There's another green onslaught on its way inside the 20 from West Hull. That's Scott Spavin again, who's been absolutely a driving force for them today.
What you've got now, John, as well, is you've got Josh Wood and Scott Spavin linking together.
And they're in for another try here, no, they're not. Unfortunately for West Hull.
So you've got four key playmakers, and it looks like they're sharing sides as well. So Josh and I think it's Ian Kerman across this right-hand side, and that then frees up the two Scots on the left-hand side.
But Hull have got the put in here, and that'll be
and it looks like
John Clay.
It actually looks like Scott Partis has gone for a rest here. So I'm wondering whether Scott Spavin come on, Scott Partis takes a seat on the bench, and whether that's the coach sending a signal out to say, job done, that's it, let's close up shop, we get through this first round. That's a great shot there.
What a tackle from Tyson Wilson.
Very good. Bobby Tyson Wilson.
The name Tyson sort of kind of just
just re-emphasises
it, doesn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
The Navy trying to make some ground here, and this is the other Tyson Wilson. This is Harry, who's on the ball now.
Footwork.
And the Navy can make the challenge. That's a very good tackle. Made some good ground there, the Navy.
You can see there's 5 of the West Hull players. Here we go, and this is about turning the tables a little bit here. There's 5 of the West Hull players, all forwards, all walking back, hands on hips. And this is what I was saying a couple of minutes ago, John. There is a great opportunity. It's recognising that opportunity. That's the thing. You know, if you can just see that, just playing with a little bit of patience, keeping your arms down when you're tied in the tackle, and chopping them off at the legs here. There's an opportunity for the Navy to grind their way back into this game. Just needs a little bit of patience.
And of course, time is not on their side either. We're approaching the hour mark here. 57 minutes gone. But here come the Navy again.
That pass just goes behind Luke Cooper from John Clay. Really need to get Luke Cooper in some space, you know. You just need to build a little bit of a platform and then be able to come off it, you know, like a +1 or +2 play. But it looks like they're trying to do that early with a back pick. Ball across the outside, inside play from there. Big Steve Riley. We need a quick play of the ball here. It's not bad, but it's a poor pass. Takes it on his knees. Lennox Green. Looking to milk a penalty, but the referee's not having any.
No, Mr. Race is
5th and last.
Is not.
This is where we need to adopt a little bit of patience. We need to see this from the Navy now. John Clay. So
he's going to have to kick.
Boots a ball.
And that's a very good kick, but he's knocked it forward.
He's just gone forwards.
Yeah, and he had to, because obviously the ball was into touch.
He's just going to secure that touching goal. That'll be a handover. That'll be a handover to West Hull. 10 metres out, 20 metres in.
I think you can see as well, Wayne, that you know, West Hull have just taken their foot off the gas a little bit, haven't they? They can afford to now.
Yeah, they have.
They don't need to exert themselves too much more here.
Yeah, it's clear to see that, and this is where opportunity arises. But for the Navy, it's all about patience.
As the squall coming up around Burnaby Road once again, we may be in for some more rain very shortly, and the rain sort of lashing in from all angles here. But so far, it's job done for West Hull. They're leading by 34 points to 12 in this Challenge Cup first round game.
Do you know, John, as well, I really like the look of this Ryan Steen, the West Hull 13. I think he's the captain as well, Ryan Steen at West Hull, and there he is. He's got his hands on the ball again. He's strong, he's dynamic, he's a real warhorse of a player. He fights to get to his feet. They're the kind of players you need down the middle of the paddock. That's exactly what you're looking for from your captain. But that's not a great kick. Lloyd Williamson.
But look how many players are on him almost straight away.
Luke Cooper getting the Navy out of yardage. Now that to me is a penalty, John. I actually thought that had been outlawed out of the game. Jack Basher. I actually can't tell. That looks like Mark Robinson, you know, rather than... it is Mark Robinson.
It is Mark Robinson, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a 15, not a 13.
Yeah, he's had to come in at short notice.
That is a nice little kick from John Clay as well. Finds touch. 20 metres out.
I mean, we're not making any excuses here, but the Navy, you know, 16 players unavailable for them today, who Steve might have been able to select for the team. And so, you know, all credit to them for the way they have battled on and carried on and continue to carry on until the end here. It's you know, it's interesting, is the back of their shirts it says the word brothers, and they really are playing like a band of brothers. I think they know that they're not going to win this game, but they're going to give it absolutely their all in the last, 15, 20, 30 minutes to really try and put some respectability on the scoreboard. 12-34 they trail here to a dominant West Hull side.
Looks like Lee Cater as well. Back in... Oh, there we go again. Just a silly error. Overplaying, just not thinking straight. Lifting the legs of the big fella, Lee Cater. And that's a penalty to West Hull. So there we go. There's where opportunity arises and then falls.
And Steve Riley will not be happy with that, I don't think. But West Hull bring it forward again.
Interesting to see that Scott Pavin just taps the ball and plays it straight away. There's no kick involved there.
That's a knock on.
There we go. There's another one. You've got to clear that ruck area. I can see a little bit of confidence arising from Westall here. They're not even kicking it; they're just tapping and going once again.
Well, they don't need to. They don't need to. Taking the extra risk, do they?
Josh Woods comes into acting half. He's looking and scanning all the time as well.
And this we do not need to see.
This is what we do not need to see.
Just got a little bit out of control there. It looked like a friendly touch to start with, and I have to say that Jacob Moore just being separated from the team, and Steve Riley just getting in there just to calm everybody down. And so far, this game has been played in the best of spirits, and it will be a shame if it was spoiled now.
Well, these are the little. This is so frustrating. John Clay as well. He can see us half the size of young Jake Moore. Had to jump off an orange box to try and land a shot on him, and he missed him as well. But Jake Moore from Westall is a very, very tough kid, and you can see. I reckon Jake Moore will be straight up to take another carry into play here. But it's not the kind of thing that the game's tough enough as it is, and we don't need to see the biff in the game these days.
And it's a red.
Oh, well, there we go, red carded.
I think it's a bit unfortunate.
That is unfortunate. That's a real shame.
And it was nice to see that interaction between the two players there.
And it looks like John Clay's got 10 minutes as well.
Yeah. So Clay gets a sin bin.
I feel a bit for Jake Moore there, actually. There was a few afters that maybe the referee didn't see from John Clay, and I feel John Clay's been really, really very lucky there, just getting a yellow card. I can see Ryan Steen having a word with the referee as well. He's not happy with that. It'd be interesting to see, John. Do you know what I'd be really interested to hear is the like a team like Westall playing a national conference, national premiership. Their view on the Forces officials, their view on the Forces referee and linesmen. Do our guys differ from what they receive and week in, week out? In the best amateur competition in the land.
Interesting point. Maybe something for a bit of a discussion at a later date. But,
absolutely.
I think their interpretation of that was clearly very different from the whole interpretation of it.
Here we go. Matt Robinson finds centre field. It looks like the Navy are just looking at this right-hand side here. It looks like Westall have mapped out yet again on numbers for numbers.
Will this extra man make a difference, I wonder, as Lennox Green again picks it up?
Danny Johnson back into play, back into traffic. This is going to be a slow play, the ball.
But they do have this man advantage, so let's see what they can do here.
The Navy like that right-hand side, don't they, John?
There we go. Surely it's going to be the third try for the Navy. And they are over.
4 points.
And that was...
looks like the linesman's kept his flag up as well. The touch judge hasn't gone into touch and goal there.
So the try...
No try.
No try. So for the second time, the Navy had denied a try here.
And that looks like final pass went forward there from the Navy, which is a real shame. But here they need to operate. This is grinding your way back in the game as well, John. This is where they need to operate with patience, because this is another opportunity for me. Exerting pressure defensively from the Navy. 34 points to 12. Westall down to 12 men. It's a single carry. 3 men in the tackle once again. Working their way off that line.
I think it was Gavin Duffy who was denied a try in the first half as well, so you're feeling a bit sick at the moment for the Navy.
Yeah, and you can see Josh. That was not. I don't know if you caught that. Yeah. That was Josh Nicklin then with an elbow straight to the throat of Danny Johnson. Left elbow raised at the last minute and caught Johnson straight across the throat.
He's obviously felt that.
Johnson felt that. You could see that. Linesman this side missed it. The official in the middle was unsighted. He couldn't get to that.
And frankly, Westall don't need to have this indiscipline. Really, they don't. They're in a position where they don't need to resort to that. But,
yeah, you know what? I don't know whether it was actually intentional. It was just he raised it at the last minute, but he caught him clean.
I'm sure the sending off of Josh Wood, of Jacob Moore, has roused some interesting discussion up at West Hull Sporting Club this afternoon.
Absolutely,
if you're watching up there on the
absolutely.
big screen. But your team obviously doing extremely well, 34-12 ahead in this match at the moment on the live on the British Forces Network here. And hope that you are enjoying the coverage here
That's
this
a great
afternoon
take.
from Burnaby Road. But a chance now for
Footwork on from Josh there on the right hand side.
yeah, Josh Copeland again.
Josh Copeland.
He's had a good game this afternoon, and again, you know, I think that he'll feel that I think it was actually him who went over for the try, which was disallowed. And he's from Heddon, he's from East Hull, so he's got a pedigree in East Yorkshire as well. But
Jack Basher breaks footwork at the line,
what
gets
a great
his
name
nose
he's
through.
got. Fantastic name.
Danny
he's got.
Johnson.
Danny Johnson again, and
As a one-on-one with Ryan Wilson.
against players that he's grown up playing with.
Ryan Wilson still down. Basher with a kick. A bit unconventional
Didn't
there
really
from
go
the
where he
Navy.
wanted it to go, did it?
Well, that's a good shot. Quite like the look of Danny Heaton, the Royal Marine Navy hooker. And it looks like the Navy are starting to operate with a bit of confidence defensively. But you know what I love as well? There's you know the whole back three, the 1, 2, and 5. They're just always eager to carry that ball into the middle to take the pressure off the forwards. Scott Partis is back on. Josh Woods at half still.
And that's Ryan Steen there.
So Partis and Kerman link up again together.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought Partis would
Good
want to
tackle
miss the
from
last
Lennox
few minutes
Green.
of this game.
Absolutely not. There's danger down this
Spavin.
left-hand side.
That's a lovely.
Oh, a forward pass.
It went forward, so it won't count. But some great movements in the West Hull side when they do get the ball. They play like a professional side, Dwayne, don't they? You know, they really do.
Yeah, they do. They move. They've got great shape. They move the ball really well. From a Navy side, I'd be a little bit worried about. You know, you've got one more player than them. In fact, no, there's 12 on the field from both sides actually, because we've got one yellow card in the bin from the Navy. But I'd just be really worried about getting caught out with numbers on the short side.
It's John Clay who's obviously in the sin bin at the moment. But here come the Navy. Can they produce something? Can they at least get a third try, which I think their performance deserves here this afternoon. They deserve a third try for what they've.
It really does.
done.
It really does. Luke Cooper returning the football, but there's 3 in the tackle there. Strong defence from West Hull. Their line set, and it's about getting to around the play of the ball for the Navy. There's great opportunities here. If you look either side, you've got Ryan Wilson and Lee Cater. Being able to get at those two guys, one of them's not moving off the line very well, so be able to get to them, put footwork on them. But it's recognising that it's Ian Kerman, and in fact it's the 2 Navy halfbacks that have got to spot that. Lennox Green, you know, with the looking eyes up on that one.
As Tyson Wilson's under that, he'll now bring it forward.
And the kick goes straight to Harry Tyson Wilson. So he's not got to move for it, John, but his return's good.
And Jamie Lever, there's an injury down here to one of the, looks like cramp to one of the Hull players.
Lewis McKenna, another Royal Marine Commando. I think he's from 40 Commando, Lewis, from Hull. 7 years at West Hull, I believe, as well.
As Ryan Wilson hobbles back into the game. Again, they're blowing quite hard. Some of the big forwards now, as you'd imagine, at these latter stages of the second half. In the gathering gloom here at Burnaby Road. I don't think we'll need the floodlights on this afternoon, but it's just as well this game did kick off at 2 o'clock. Moore goes in there. Out to Wood.
Little punt down that
And he kicks the ball
Navy
forward.
right-hand side from Scott Spavin. He's got to get this out of his own touch and goal. Luke Cooper working hard on this. He's not going to get it. So that's a drop out under the post for the Navy. Great finish by West Hull. Finishing deep. Navy under pressure. Can't get back over the try line.
So here we go.
A little bit of a stoppage in play here. West Hull defending the sidelines. Josh Woods in the middle, 10 metres away from the Navy kicker. That's not a great kick, but it's gone on. But it's turned into a really decent kick. Partis gets his hands on the ball.
Here's
Harry Tyson, Wilson and Partis linking.
I say, would you recognise Scott Partis with that long hair?
No, I wouldn't actually. I wouldn't mind taking a razor to him, actually, just giving him a number one all over just for his journey back up the M1.
What, just for old time's sake?
Absolutely.
At West Hull, they've ground this one out again, haven't they? And
Lee Cater.
Brilliant drive forward from Cater.
And he's offloaded as well.
To Wood.
There seems to be some opportunities down that left-hand side for West Hull. Navy just need to be smart here. They can hold out here. Spavin, across to Ryan Steen.
Tyson Wilson acting half-back, and
that is a long speculator of a pass. Really well picked up by the Navy.
And given the wind, it could have gone just about anywhere.
It could. Picked up by the old stager, Steve Riley.
We won't point the camera in front of the scoreboard at the moment, Wayne, because that would give a rather it says 122 to the Royal Navy, and I can assure you that is not the score. It's actually
if only that
12.
was true.
Yeah.
A little short side sneak from the Navy. Jack Basher. Oh, the pass goes straight behind him.
But well picked up, though.
By the winger.
Lloyd Williamson did well there to pick that one up.
Does a little bit too much from Scott Partis there. There's the West Hull shoot out the line onto the kicker, putting kick pressure on there. This wind causing a lot of issues as well, John. Harry Tyson Wilson picks the ball up.
I can bring you an update on the score, by the way, from the match at Bentley against Hull, and at the moment the home side are leading the Army by 12 points to 10 at a similar stage in the game there. So the Army have got something to do to get back into that game, but it's a great chance now for
down that
West Hull.
side.
And this is Luke Moss who's going to go for the try. The Salmon has finally scored for West Hull. It was a good try as well, well made for them, and it's Moss who gets the try to take them to 38-12.
Do you know, John, we really need to big up these the two young fellas on the wing for West Hull today. So you've got Luke Moss, who scored that one, but also Jamie Lee's involvement. And I know it's Jamie Lee's first team debut today. But them two have been fabulous. They have just provided energy upon energy for some of these bigger fellas
17-year-olds, both of them.
17-year-olds, absolutely credible young lads of coming through the West Hull youth system there. You know, the youth policy, you can see if they can bring them in and they can play like this, you know, on debut as well. That's absolutely fabulous, and that's great testament to the work that the coaches are doing through the youth system at West Hull. Looks like Partis is taking this kick. He's resumed his normal duties there. Ryan Wilson back on the bench once again, so we're left over to Partis. It's on his it's on the wrong side for him, unless he decides to, because I know Scott Partis can kick from both feet, but it looks like he's going to step up on his left peg against the wind. You can see the flag fluttering in the breeze behind him. Quite strong on that side.
He'll do well to get this one over.
He will with that fringe, John.
And
he's missed it.
So the score remains at 38 points to 12, but a 7th try for West Hull here this afternoon. 7 tries to 2, but it's been an entertaining game. It really has, and I think we've seen encouraging signs from both teams. If you're a West Hull supporter, you'll be absolutely delighted they're going to be safely progressing through to the second round of the Coral Challenge Cup. But if you're a fan of Royal Navy Rugby League, then there's a lot of positive signs for Steve Lockton to take, because he's missing so many of his key players, and he's given some of the younger lads a chance to make a name for themselves.
I think that's highly credible, what Coach Lockton's done there as well. And there could be a real push at this time of the season to be going to commanding officers worldwide, to get guys to fly back off ships or from units and whatnot, from Royal Marine units, but to
to back some of the youth he's got on the side and to give them such a powerful experience against a team like Westall today. And it's also, you know, it's what he takes out of it as a coach, and it's what the team takes out of it. You know, the reflections they make. That's a great shot from Steve Riley on Scott Pavin.
Well, Steve Riley sums up the way the Navy have played today. They've never, ever given up. They've never stopped trying, and he sums up their performance today for me.
From a very inexperienced side, I think there's so much to learn from the Navy, you know. Looks like a bit of ill discipline from Westall as well. Oh, there we are. Same again. And I'm not sure whether this is Jack Lazenby again. Just had, if it is, he's had too much to say for himself today, and the officials he's not accepting it. That kick's not gone.
Not a good penalty from Lennox Green. It's about the worst thing he's done in the game so far.
Absolutely, he's played really well today.
Again, he's a product of the West Hull development programme.
Really unfortunate there. The Navy knock on in the tackle.
But you can see how much this means to the West Hull players as well, to have come here today. They know they've been in a game.
Absolutely, super energy from them as well, and you can see they celebrate you know, those little errors. They're the little 1%ers that they celebrate. And you can see the whole, I guess it's the culture of the team really. You know, one goes up, they all go up. And here's the Navy being smart here, because Westall didn't have any shape whatsoever. We're really concertinaed in, and the Navy were spread out. That's a great tackle there. Jack Basher.
What a great name.
Fantastic name.
As soon as I saw his name on the team sheet today, it just brings a smile to the face, because you know he sums up Navy rugby in many ways.
Do you know as well?
Here come West Hull again, and that's a lovely move. And going out onto the far side, it's going to be Jamie Lee. West Hull still
play
in
on
possession.
from this point.
Partis again.
With his hands on the ball. That's Steen, Ryan Steen again. Ryan Steen just steadies the ship every time.
What a captain.
He just does the basics, but he does them so well. Offloading the tackle, Josh Woods. Close to the line. The Navy really need to be on their metal on the line here. Back foot on the line, stepping off. There we go. Scott Spavin. Is he held up on this one? Bodies underneath him. Well done, Navy.
Yeah. Yeah, they held it well.
They're the great moments that'll pay you back later on in the season. Pressure on Partis, but it's too much. John Clay missed him. And John Clay needs to be careful here. He's already on one yellow card. He's back on the field. He comes flying out the line.
This is a really strong finish from West Hull.
Ryan Steen again. Little right hand offload. Just need to tie the ball up in the tackle there. 3 men in. Very combative once again. As they wrestle him to the ground.
Partis.
Same again.
Takes another hit, doesn't he? But he gets up.
Lloyd Williamson, can he clear his own lines? No, he can't. Just runs touch and goal. Just a little bit worried about John Clay there. Same again. Comes running out on Scott Partis. Comes out early. And it's just that excitement, that over-excitement, overplay you don't need. And all that will happen there is it'll turn it into an advantage to Westall or something in their favour. That's a great kick. Harry Tyson Wilson. Not quite sure where he is in the minute. He's walking back in field. And we've got the young Salmon takes the ball back up again. There he is, Luke Moss.
Yeah. I say with Clay, you can't put it down to an experience. He's 30 years old. He's been around for a while.
He has, yeah. It's just the emotion of the game, John. You know, you can't. It's one of the things you've got to do. You've got to understand that emotion. You've got to be able to just manage it. You know.
Well, I think it's quite remarkable. You know, someone who, if you know you're not sort of a regular follower of rugby league, and here we go, another try for West Hull. And it's beautifully
Jamie Lee on that left-hand side.
Jamie Lee goes in for the try, and that puts them over the 40 mark. 42 points to 12 now.
And that all comes from a great exit off that set for West Hull. They finished deep. They forced Lloyd Williamson, the Navy winger, back to his own touching goal. They get the drop out. They work their way back upfield, work across there. You see Harry Steen in that play. Ryan Steen in that play once again. Ryan Steen missed the perpetual motion. You know, does the right things, takes the ball to the line, draws some people in, drags them with him, and he's got what he can do on his right hand with that right hand offload. He's got the same on his left hand side as well. He's got an array of skill, just tips it out to that left hand side, and it just finishes with young Jamie Lee scoring once again.
Partis is going to have another go from this side to try and take it up to 44 points, but this has been a very, very comprehensive victory for West Hull this afternoon. And of course, it all started so well for the Royal Navy, didn't it? They took the lead early doors, and they very nearly got a second try, which would have really put the pressure on the visitors. But West Hull have stamped their authority throughout the game as it has progressed, and deservedly, obviously, with the way they've performed here, are going to go back up to the 6-hour journey back up to East Yorkshire with a very comfortable victory to their name. Partis now checks and goes for the conversion, and once again it's veered off to the right, and he's furious about missing it as well.
Gets caught in the wind, just drifts across the front of both uprights, and you can see there he spends 5 minutes adjusting his hair on the way back, Scott Partis.
And very little time left in this game. We must be now into the whatever time is being added on for stoppages by the referee.
Closing time here. Do you know what I like as well? I like the talk. You listen to the West Hull team here, defending the touchlines, defending the sidelines. Lots of very, really positive talk. That's a great kick as well. Taken well by young Luke Moss again. Let's see Worthylink, Scott Spavin. Just unfortunate once again. I'm hoping this is one of the key reflections from this game, is the amount of errors that the Navy have had. And when I say errors, I mean disciplinary errors, John. It's not been a lack of skill or competency that wise. But I think that Coach Lockton can take great store in what he's seen today from the Navy side. A very inexperienced side, lots of new players, lots of guys that have been brought through the academy system, the reserve grade system, put into the first team for the Challenge Cup debut, and this is a great experience for them.
And there are several players in the Navy side who have actually been, who have come into the Royal Navy to play rugby league, and that, of course, from a recruitment point of view for the senior service, is terrific.
Oh, it's fabulous. I mean, I can go back to when I was coaching, and we pulled in some super talent from Super League and from the championship. That became the mainstay and the backbone of our side for a decade. The likes of Lewis Taylor, Richie Metcalf, those kind of just absolutely stock players that stuck with us for years.
The Navy have the scrum, and they'll be desperate to see if they can get another try before the end of this game. They've shipped 8 tries across their own line this afternoon, but still not giving up, still
Nathan
giving
Lee.
it every great work there from young Nathan. And that is the final action of this game, and it ends in a victory for the visitors here, West Hull, by 42 points to 12. It was a well-deserved win for the visitors here, who are stronger in every department, as we feared and expected. But nevertheless, all credit to Steve Lockton and his Royal Navy side. Steve now going round, because he's got so many connections with Hull himself, Wayne.
He has, yeah, and, absolutely, yeah. Being a Hull boy, born and bred, played all his amateur and all his youth rugby up there. But great job. All credit to West Hull. Fantastic stint today. 42 points. Only 12 points against them today. Really got that opportunity on a very good and wide pitch to be able to test some of those structures and systems that they've no doubt been working on throughout last summer and 2018. But for me today, the real key to it was the Josh Woods being able to come on for Scott Spavin. That transition worked really well. But the Kerman Partis, the Harry Steen, and the Harry Tyson Wilson at the back, that spine absolutely took them from one end of the pitch to the other, John. That's a fabulous spine and some real talent in that West Hull side.
And from the Navy's point of view, I mean, Steve Lockton, what will he take from this? Obviously, he'll be disappointed. The players will be gutted. They know so many of the West Hull players, but they'll be disappointed that they maybe didn't make more of a fight of it in terms of the points, but they'll take a lot from this, going into the rest of the season, or to the new season when it happens.
They absolutely will take a lot from this, and it backs off the 2018. Great finish to the 2018 season with a 3-0 series whitewash of Australia. Great success for the Navy, and today it's the experience that these young fellas and some of these fringe players have had today, playing alongside the likes of Nathan Lee. Lennox Green was fabulous today as well, absolutely tremendous.
And I think very shortly we're going to be able to talk to a couple of the players. Kath Brazier is down there on the pitch for us, and she's certainly got Scott Partis with her, and also I think she's going to be with a couple of the other players as well. It's Nathan down there as well from the Royal Navy, and I think we're ready to go down to her now. Kath, over to you.
End of the day, a good run out for you guys, and a well-deserving win for West Hull.
Really, really tough team, but our own boys did us proud. We all enjoyed it. We haven't played in months, so it's really good to get back out on the field and actually go up against a team that can actually prove us, and they did.
You proved that you could come out firing both the first half and the second half. You seem to have the advantage. So you've got the legs there, but perhaps they were slightly more disciplined in the end.
Yeah, we came out strong, but they found the weakness and they pounced on us. It was an arm wrestle for the first 10 minutes, but yeah, they found our weakness, and they eventually, just battered us.
I know I'm not making excuses, but you are missing a lot of players that aren't available, and injury as a consequence of the Australian series as well back in November. Yeah. But do you think that would have made a difference if you had all those players available?
I believe so, yeah. We have a lot of injuries, a lot of deployments, but that's life in the Royal Navy. You've got to take it on the chin and go out with what you got, and we tried his best out there. It was a good game.
How on a weekend like this, when you're playing, you've got the Army who are currently, I think, down against Bentley, and then the RAF have obviously got games tomorrow. Do you root for each other, or are you kind of hoping they won't get through the first round as well?
Hoping they don't get through the first round.
Otherwise you'll never hear the end of it.
Yeah, never hear the end of it, yeah. We want to be the best, then we'll try forces. So the very best of them.
Okay, well done, Nathan. Thanks very much. We're going to speak to another ex-Navy man here. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, hold on there.
I'm actually going to come around the other side, Scott, just to confuse you.
No
I mean, it's such a great game, isn't it? If you look at all the list of names, the associations with Hull, the association with the military, and you're a man who played for the Navy when you were in 11 years ago, wherever it was.
Yeah,
so a really good game for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's a team and a place that's dear to my heart for rugby reasons, and to come back is sort of a swan song with me coming in the twilight of my career now. So it was nice to sit out. It was good for us as our first game. It was great to see some old faces and some good friends. But yeah, I had some good times here.
I spoke to assistant coach Glyn Jones at half-time. He said you've got 45 people sort of in the squad to pick from. So a really healthy position, but you've got some young legs coming in, you've got debutants playing together. Do you feel like, but it did look like you played together quite well, you moved so well.
I think what we try to do is anyone who comes into the first team set up with us, we all play the same way. So the coaches at Mark and Glyn and all the other guys, they want us, so if anyone steps in, they can do the same job. So if I'm injured or anyone else is injured, they can do the same thing. So it breeds well for us as a team. And for our first day out, I thought we were scratchy for 20 minutes, but then I think they caught us on the off and was a bit, oh no, what's going on? But we got 12 straps and we played some good structures towards the last 20 of the game.
I think they're guilty of making a lot of disciplinary errors, a lot of tactical errors.
I think we did
possibly.
that as well.
I think obviously you've got a red card as well, but I think generally you took advantage of those. You capitalised on their errors, and that's what won you the game in the end.
Yeah, I mean, we knew, like I say, the coach is a good friend of mine. I knew they had a few lads out, some key players for them, as we did, and it's early for both teams. But we knew that if we played up the middle enough against them, fast and catch them on the ruck, that we would have some joy, and that's what proved fruitful for us in the end.
But you must be so proud to see. I mean, we've got Wayne O'Kell on comms. I mean, he brought Royal Navy Rugby League, made it what it is, and Steve Loxton's one of those people as well. Must be so nice for you to come back and see that it's still thriving.
I thought it'd never happen. I thought I'd never come back in, and it got drawn out, and it was really surreal because me and my friend was talking about it the day before. He said, imagine our last I say this is my last year playing rugby, but you drew the Navy in the cup, and I thought that would be amazing. And it come out fantastic. Yeah. Great to be down here to have a beer with the lads after the game. I thought the Navy did themselves loads of credit. I thought it was a good team. They were strong, as they always are, even when I was playing. But yeah, it'd be good to catch up with everybody in the clubhouse now and take the mick out my long hair and stuff like that. I'm not Navy.
You beat me to it. I was about to say the only grief you've got today is because of your haircut.
Yeah, I think it's more that it just annoys everybody. So I don't want to cut it now. So I think the lad's going to shave my head on the bus.
Okay, well done. Thanks so much, Scott. And yeah, we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, lovely.
Cheers.
Thank you.
That's great from West Hull and from the Royal Navy. So back to Wayne and John for a quick summarisation.
Kath, thanks very much indeed, and great to talk to Scott there, and also it was just great hearing what they had to say after the game there. It was mutual respect, I think, for both teams.
Two great players for me there that Kath just interviewed. Scott Partis, coached him and I've been around him as a player for many years, and he's just one of those iconic players. But also Nathan Lee, the Navy captain. Took a punt on Nathan as a young fella, brought him into the Navy side when everyone else was saying, he's too young, he's not experienced enough. And you know what? He's never been out of that side since that day that we put him in, and now he's the captain. And it's just great to come here, years later as an old fella and just and watch both of these young lads do this. Well, when I say young lads, Patty's not so much, but absolutely with Nathan Lee.
You're almost as old as he is. And Wayne, it's just been an absolute joy to have you with us here today on the commentary position here at Burnaby Road. Hope it's brought back a few happy memories for you of matches that you've been involved with here with the Royal Navy and of course with the UK Armed Forces over the years. Disappointing result in the end, just to sum things up really, with the Royal Navy beaten by the West Hull side this afternoon, and you can probably just see us in vision right now. And we've thoroughly enjoyed ourselves this afternoon, Wayne, haven't we?
Oh, we've had a fantastic afternoon, and I wouldn't say the scoreboard might be disappointing for the Navy, but I wouldn't say it's that disappointing. When you look at this as an experience, and I'm sure Coach Loxton will take loads of that out of the game. It's been a very, very rich experience for some of his young and some of his fringe players. So. Yeah, well done the Navy. 16 players missing to do that, to play against West Hull. Absolutely fabulous. They did well today.
They did indeed. I think Cass going to be able to give me the result of the Army game in just passing me the details now. And it was 18-16 the final score. Is that to the home side, Bentley, which is clearly disappointing from a military point of view. We've got the RAF to come tomorrow. They're playing their match against the North Herts Crusaders up at Hitchin. That's a 1 o'clock kick-off tomorrow afternoon. If you're anywhere near there, try and get along to support them. We'll of course have news on all of the matches with action following up later on over the weekend, and indeed next week on our Forces Sports Show and on Forces News. But from all of us here, the whole team who've been with you here this afternoon behind the scenes, and indeed Kath Brazier, who's been our match reporter today, and from Wayne O'Kell, whose birthday it is today. Wayne,
thanks, John.
Many happy returns of the day. 37 years old yet again. I'd like to say a very big thank you, and thanks indeed for joining us here on the Forces Network this afternoon for our live coverage. It's ended though in defeat for the Royal Navy. They've been beaten by West Hull by 42 points to 12. From all of us, a very good afternoon to you.